The political world is in an uproar as new revelations emerge about Congressman Matt Gaetz and his ongoing scandal, this time involving a surprising connection to former President Donald Trump. Gaetz, who has faced months of scrutiny over various allegations, now finds himself embroiled in an even deeper web of controversy that threatens to shake the Republican Party to its core. The latest twist comes from leaked reports suggesting that Gaetz allegedly sought political protection from Trump during his presidency. Sources close to the situation claim that Gaetz appealed to Trump for a potential presidential pardon before the allegations against him became public. This revelation has reignited speculation about the extent of Trump's influence over Gaetz and other prominent Republican lawmakers. Gaetz, a staunch Trump ally and vocal supporter, has often been seen as one of the former president's most loyal defenders. However, this new information paints a more transactional relationship between the two. Critics argue that Gaetz's unwavering support for Trump may have been less about ideology and more about self-preservation. The scandal began with allegations of misconduct and misuse of campaign funds, but has since spiraled into accusations involving possible criminal behavior. Federal investigators have reportedly been examining Gaetz's financial records and personal dealings, looking for evidence of wrongdoing. While no formal charges have been filed, the mere existence of the investigation has cast a long shadow over Gaetz's political career. Adding fuel to the fire is the nature of Gaetz's alleged plea for a pardon. Sources claim that Gaetz hinted at damaging consequences for the Trump administration if he were to face legal trouble without protection. This cryptic statement has led to widespread speculation about what Gaetz might know and whether he could become a liability for Trump and the broader Republican Party. Unsurprisingly, Trump has denied any involvement in Gaetz's legal troubles. In a recent interview, the former president distanced himself from the congressman, stating, "I don't know anything about that. Matt Gaetz has his own issues to deal with." This stark dismissal has left many wondering whether Trump is cutting ties with one of his most vocal allies to avoid being dragged into the scandal. Meanwhile, Gaetz has remained defiant. In a fiery statement to the press, he denied all allegations and accused the media of orchestrating a smear campaign against him. "This is nothing more than a witch hunt," Gaetz said, echoing Trump's famous rhetoric. "I have always stood for the truth, and I will not back down." However, even within Republican circles, support for Gaetz is beginning to waver. Some GOP lawmakers have quietly expressed concerns about the negative attention the scandal is bringing to the party, especially as they prepare for critical elections in 2024. "We can't afford to be distracted by this kind of drama," one Republican senator said anonymously. "The focus should be on defeating the Democrats, not defending bad behavior." The Democrats, on the other hand, are seizing the moment to criticize the Republican Party for what they see as a culture of corruption. Several high-profile Democrats have called for Gaetz to step down, arguing that his continued presence in Congress undermines the credibility of the institution. "Matt Gaetz represents everything that's wrong with Washington," one Democratic lawmaker said during a press conference. "It's time for him to go." Social media has erupted with commentary on the scandal, with hashtags like #GaetzGate and #TrumpConnection trending nationwide. Some users are calling for Gaetz's resignation, while others are speculating about what secrets he might hold about Trump and his inner circle. Conspiracy theories abound, with some suggesting that Gaetz's downfall could expose a broader network of political corruption. As the scandal unfolds, it raises serious questions about accountability and ethics in politics. How much did Trump know about Gaetz's alleged activities? Was there any truth to the claims that Gaetz sought a pardon in exchange for loyalty? And perhaps most importantly, what will this mean for the future of the Republican Party? Legal experts are weighing in on the potential outcomes for Gaetz. If the allegations are proven true, he could face significant legal consequences, including prison time. Such a scenario would not only end his political career but also deal a significant blow to the GOP, which has already struggled to maintain unity in the post-Trump era. The scandal also highlights the risks of tying one's political fortunes to a figure as polarizing as Trump. For years, Gaetz built his brand as a loyal Trump supporter, often mimicking the former president's bombastic style and rhetoric. But as this scandal shows, that loyalty can become a double-edged sword when controversies arise. For Trump, the Gaetz scandal represents yet another challenge to his influence over the Republican Party. While he remains a dominant figure within the GOP, his ties to controversial figures like Gaetz risk alienating moderate voters and giving Democrats more ammunition to use against him in future elections. As the investigation continues, all eyes will be on Matt Gaetz and his next moves. Will he maintain his defiant stance, or will mounting pressure force him to step down? And what, if anything, will this scandal reveal about Trump's role in the matter? This is a story that is far from over. The ramifications of the Gaetz scandal could ripple through Washington for months, if not years, to come. Stay tuned as we continue to follow every twist and turn in this explosive political drama. The scandal surrounding Matt Gaetz has become one of the most talked about political dramas of the year, with new revelations emerging almost daily. As the investigation deepens, it's clear that the stakes are higher than ever, not just for Gaetz, but for the Republican Party and even Donald Trump himself. Reports suggest that federal investigators are leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit of evidence against Gaetz. Subpoenas have been issued to individuals within his inner circle, and prosecutors are reportedly building a case that could implicate him in multiple alleged crimes, ranging from misuse of campaign funds to more serious accusations that could carry significant legal consequences. Gaetz's critics argue that his behavior has long raised red flags. Known for his brash rhetoric and unapologetic style, Gaetz has made a career out of courting controversy. But now, his tactics are backfiring, as even his staunchest supporters are beginning to question whether his allegiance to Trump was a shield for deeper misconduct. What's particularly shocking about this scandal is the alleged link to Trump's orbit. According to insiders, Gaetz's connection to the former president wasn't just about politics, it was about survival. The reported plea for a presidential pardon, which allegedly occurred during Trump's final days in office, suggests that Gaetz may have known his legal troubles were imminent. This raises an important question. Did Trump know the full extent of Gaetz's alleged activities when he considered the pardon request? If so, why did he ultimately decline to grant it? Some speculate that Trump's legal advisors may have warned him that a pardon for Gaetz could backfire, dragging the then-president into yet another scandal as he prepared to leave office. For Trump, distancing himself from Gaetz may be a strategic move. The former president is already battling his own legal and political challenges, and aligning himself with a scandal-ridden congressman could weaken his influence within the Republican Party. But for Gaetz, Trump's cold shoulder has been a bitter pill to swallow. Gaetz has made it clear that he won't go down without a fight. In public appearances and interviews, he has repeatedly denied all allegations, portraying himself as a victim of a political witch hunt. His defenders have echoed this narrative, arguing that the investigation is nothing more than a partisan attack aimed at silencing one of Trump's most vocal supporters. Yet, behind the scenes, cracks are beginning to show. Some Republican lawmakers have reportedly urged Gaetz to step aside, fearing that the scandal could become a distraction in the lead-up to the 2024 elections. "We can't afford to let this become the story," one GOP strategist said. "The Democrats will use it against us at every turn." Indeed, Democrats have wasted no time capitalizing on the controversy. In press conferences and campaign ads, they have painted Gaetz as a symbol of corruption within the Republican Party. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries even referred to the scandal as a case study in why ethics and accountability matter. Public opinion is also shifting. Recent polls indicate that Gaetz's approval ratings have plummeted, even among Republican voters. Many who once admired his fiery speeches and unwavering support for Trump are now questioning whether he is fit to serve in Congress. This growing dissatisfaction could spell trouble for Gaetz's political future. Meanwhile, the media has been relentless in its coverage of the scandal. Cable news networks and online platforms have dedicated hours of airtime and thousands of articles to dissecting every detail of the investigation. Pundits are debating not only Gaetz's guilt or innocence but also the broader implications for the Republican Party. One of the most explosive aspects of the story is the speculation about what secrets Gaetz might hold about Trump and his administration. If Gaetz feels cornered, some believe he could turn on his former allies, sharing damaging information in exchange for leniency. Such a move would undoubtedly send shockwaves through Washington. The potential fallout extends far beyond Gaetz's legal troubles. If the scandal exposes deeper corruption within the GOP, it could undermine the party's credibility and weaken its position heading into the 2024 elections. This is a risk that Republican leaders are acutely aware of, and it's why some are quietly pushing for Gaetz to resign. Gaetz's refusal to step down has only intensified the drama. By staying in office, he risks drawing even more attention to the scandal and dragging the Republican Party into the controversy. Yet, for Gaetz, resigning would be tantamount to admitting guilt, something he has adamantly refused to do. Adding another layer of complexity is the role of Trump's base. Many of Trump's most loyal supporters also admire Gaetz for his combative style and his willingness to take on the so-called establishment. If Gaetz were to face consequences without clear evidence of wrongdoing, it could alienate these voters and create a rift within the party. The scandal has also sparked a broader conversation about the culture of accountability in Washington. Critics argue that politicians like Gaetz have been allowed to operate without consequences for far too long, creating an environment where misconduct is overlooked or excused. This controversy, they say, is a wake-up call. Legal experts are closely watching the case, predicting that it could set a precedent for how allegations against sitting members of Congress are handled. If Gaetz is indicted, it would mark a rare instance of a high-profile lawmaker facing criminal charges while still in office. Such an outcome would undoubtedly raise questions about the integrity of the political system. As the investigation continues, attention is also turning to Gaetz's allies. Several individuals connected to the congressman have reportedly been questioned by federal authorities, raising concerns about whether others could be implicated. This has only fueled speculation about the scope of the alleged misconduct. For now, Gaetz remains defiant, using every platform available to proclaim his innocence. In a recent rally, he told supporters, "I'm not backing down, and I will not be intimidated by the lies and attacks against me." His remarks drew loud applause, but outside the rally, protesters called for his resignation. This polarization reflects the broader divide in American politics, where scandals often become a battleground for partisan debates. For Democrats, the Gaetz scandal is an opportunity to highlight what they see as corruption within the GOP. For Republicans, it's a test of whether they can maintain unity in the face of controversy. Trump's role in the scandal remains a key focus. While he has denied any involvement, critics argue that his leadership style and rhetoric created an environment where figures like Gaetz could thrive. This debate over Trump's legacy is likely to intensify as more details about the scandal emerge. In the end, the fate of Matt Gaetz will depend on the outcome of the investigation and the political will of his party. Will he weather the storm and continue his career, or will the mounting pressure force him out of office? Either way, the scandal has already left an indelible mark on the political landscape. The scandal surrounding Matt Gaetz continues to unravel, sending shockwaves through Washington, D.C., and beyond. Each passing day brings new revelations, new allegations, and new speculation about how this explosive situation could ultimately unfold. At the center of it all, Gaetz remains defiant, clinging to his seat in Congress despite mounting pressure from all sides. Federal investigators are reportedly honing in on financial records tied to Gaetz's campaign, searching for evidence of misuse or illegal activity. Anonymous sources have indicated that some of these transactions may be linked to questionable dealings with lobbyists, raising questions about whether Gaetz used his political influence for personal gain. But the most sensational aspect of the scandal remains the alleged request for a preemptive pardon from Donald Trump. Insiders suggest that Gaetz's team knew the allegations against him were about to surface and sought to secure protection before leaving office. The timing of this alleged request has raised eyebrows, with critics calling it a blatant abuse of power. Trump, for his part, has distanced himself from Gaetz in public, but questions remain about what the former president knew and when. Some speculate that Trump's inner circle may have been aware of Gaetz's legal troubles long before they became public, but chose to keep quiet to avoid implicating the administration. The relationship between Trump and Gaetz has always been a political spectacle. Gaetz was one of Trump's most vocal defenders, often appearing on television to parrot the former president's talking points. In return, Trump showered Gaetz with praise, calling him a fighter and a great congressman. But now, that alliance appears to be crumbling under the weight of scandal. The fallout from the Gaetz controversy is not just limited to him and Trump. The Republican Party as a whole is grappling with how to handle the situation. Some GOP lawmakers have called for Gaetz to step aside, arguing that his continued presence is a liability. Others, however, have rallied around him, insisting that he is being unfairly targeted by the media and federal investigators. This divide within the Republican Party mirrors a larger struggle over its future direction. On one side are those who want to move past the Trump era and focus on policy issues. On the other are the staunch Trump loyalists, like Gaetz, who believe the former president's influence is essential to the party's success. For Democrats, the Gaetz scandal is a golden opportunity to highlight what they see as a culture of corruption within the GOP. Several Democratic lawmakers have called for a full ethics investigation into Gaetz, while others have used the scandal to draw attention to broader issues of accountability in government. Progressive activists, in particular, have been vocal about the need for systemic change. Matt Gaetz is just one example of how broken our political system is, said one activist during a recent rally. We need real reform to ensure that no one, regardless of their position, is above the law. Social media continues to play a major role in shaping public perception of the scandal. Hashtags like #GaetzResign and #TrumpGatesScandal have been trending for days, with users sharing memes, articles, and heated opinions. While some defend Gaetz, arguing that he is a victim of political persecution, many others are calling for his immediate resignation. Gaetz's personal life has also come under scrutiny, with tabloid-style headlines adding to the sensationalism. Allegations of inappropriate behavior and questionable relationships have fueled the narrative that Gaetz's troubles are not just legal but also moral. These stories, while unverified, have only added to the perception that he is unfit for office. The potential consequences for Gaetz are enormous. If federal investigators find sufficient evidence to bring charges, he could face serious legal penalties, including imprisonment. Even if he avoids criminal charges, the damage to his reputation and political career may be irreversible. Within Republican circles, there is growing concern that the Gaetz scandal could have ripple effects on upcoming elections. With the 2024 presidential race already heating up, GOP strategists worry that the controversy could distract from the party's messaging and alienate swing voters. Meanwhile, the Democratic Party is wasting no time capitalizing on the situation. Campaign ads targeting vulnerable Republican districts have begun to feature Gaetz prominently, painting him as a symbol of the GOP's alleged ethical failings. "This is who they are," one ad declares, accompanied by images of Gaetz and Trump. Trump's role in the scandal remains a focal point for both parties. For Democrats, it's an opportunity to tie the former president to yet another controversy. For Republicans, it's a test of whether Trump's influence is a help or a hindrance in the post-2020 political landscape. Gaetz's legal team, however, remains confident in his innocence. In a fiery press conference, his attorney dismissed the allegations as baseless and accused federal investigators of engaging in a politically motivated witch hunt. The attorney also hinted at plans to file lawsuits against several media outlets for defamation. But public opinion is not on Gaetz's side. A recent poll found that a majority of voters believe the allegations against him are credible, with only a small fraction expressing confidence in his ability to continue serving in Congress. This decline in support has left some Republican leaders scrambling to distance themselves from the embattled congressman. Adding to the intrigue is the question of whether Gaetz could strike a deal with federal prosecutors. Legal experts speculate that if the evidence against him is strong, he may be tempted to cooperate in exchange for a lighter sentence. Such a move could have far-reaching implications, particularly if it involves implicating others in his orbit. For now, Gaetz remains defiant, using every opportunity to proclaim his innocence and attack his critics. In a recent interview, he described himself as a fighter who will not be silenced by what he called fake news and deep state conspiracies. His supporters cheered the remarks, but his detractors dismissed them as empty rhetoric. The scandal has also reignited debates about the role of money in politics. Critics argue that the allegations against Gaetz highlight the need for stricter campaign finance laws and greater transparency in political fundraising. "This isn't just about one congressman," said a government watchdog. "It's about a system that allows this kind of behavior to go unchecked." As the investigation continues, all eyes are on Gaetz and his next moves. Will he weather the storm and continue his political career, or will the mounting pressure force him to step aside? And what, if anything, will this scandal reveal about the inner workings of Trump's administration and the broader Republican Party? For now, one thing is clear: the Matt Gaetz scandal is far from over. With each passing day, the stakes grow higher, and the implications become more far-reaching. Whether he survives this crisis or becomes another cautionary tale in American politics, his story will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on Washington. Stay tuned as we follow every twist and turn in this unfolding drama. The full truth has yet to be revealed, but when it is, it could change the course of American politics forever.